Hey everyone, I'm back to share more of the die cuts that I have for the cookie sheet and also some finished projects which I will attach a separate video for. I figured let me film the cookie sheet, the cookie racks, and then I will, or faux cookie racks, and then I'll share with you some projects that I put together. Okay, so first things first. In part one of my video, I showed this particular mesh or crosshatch from FMT crosshatch die. And all of the paper that I used is the shiny silver here, the die cuts that I did from this one. So what I'm going to show you is actually die cuts that I did with this Tim Holtz paper that is actually a different color. I think they call it onyx. Yeah, onyx. And there's 18 onyx sheets and 18 champagne sheets in this one. So when you see the paper, it's actually, it's not a black color. It looks like it's a gunmetal gray or sort of brown maybe, I guess you could say. So not really brown though. More gunmetal, okay? So that's what the actual sheet looks like. And when you die cut it, it looks really nice as a cookie rack, cooling rack. So here's the other dies that I have cut. These are from Paper Rose. These are the same. They're just two different sizes and they do come separately. You have to purchase each one separately. Then this one is, and I purchased all these from scrapbook.com except for that MFT one, which I've had in my stash for a while. This one is Altenew burlap texture die. I got this from scrapbook.com. This honeybee one, which is burlap A2 background. And then this last one is also from Altenew, and it is the grid cover die. So I'm going to show you each one of these and show you with the gingerbread die cuts. The reason I want to film this now is because I'm going to use my stuff for projects and then I can show you the completed projects. And I won't be able to do that if I glue stuff down. So here are the smaller dies. This is the MFT one. You can see it's a different color. You may not be able to see that, but if I hold it up closer into the light, you can see that it is different. So this one is the Altenew die, and it's cut with that other paper, the darker one. So when you hold them together, you can tell it's not a shiny silver. It's a darker, like gunmetal gray. So that's that. They're about the same size. And then you've got these two grids right here, and these are the Paper Rose ones, and they are different sizes. Now, I don't have a gingerbread that's actually cut for the smaller size die. You can see that one's too big, but she fits nicely here. So if you wanted to put her on top of a faux cookie sheet, you could use this. I would probably tilt it or something like that, and then have her on a card or a tag or something like that. So, and then of course you'd have a sentiment or other things around her. Here's the other one from Jaded Blossom. That is about the same size, so again, it will fit too. And here it is on the Altenew. I think it's burlap is what they call theirs. It looks a lot like burlap, so I'm not as, impressed with this one because you could cut this too. Obviously, you could cut some of these longer pieces down to make it look more like a cookie sheet. But since I have so many dies now, I don't really need to do that. So I'm going to just sort of take this one out of the rotation and probably just use this more as burlap, which is what it's intended. So you can see these two together. Okay, those are the smaller dies. Now, I told you that you need to use your precision plate. You need to use your precision plate for any of these cuttings because here's the huge amount of things that come out of all the die cuts I just did with this darker paper. And you can see it's a lot. I use my precision plate that came with my Big Shot switch. It looks like this. Okay. I don't want to put my face in there because you'll see my reflection. But do that. and you'll be able to have all them fall out without having to do a lot of work. I also use this brush. Now, I've seen people use hairbrushes to poke out their stuff. This works better because this is actually a grill brush for cleaning the grill. I got this at Dollar Tree years ago. I actually have a couple of these somewhere stashed around. But number one, the angle of the brush is already good for, like, you know, pushing stuff around. But the other part of it is these bristles are much more firm than, say, a hairbrush bristle would be, because it's used for cleaning your grill. These are great for poking all of these little holes out. And you can keep the, you know, if you have this in the die, it's easy to do it because you're not going to rip the paper if you're doing it through the die itself. So that's just a tip. I use a grill cleaning brush. This used to be $1. It's probably $1.25 if they still have them, but I would think that they still do, maybe in the summertime. So I have a number of these just so that if I have to ever replace one, I have an extra. So that's the die cutting portion of it. Okay, so the larger dies I have are these two here. I'm going to move this off for now so you can see them without anything on them. And you'll notice I still have some of the die cut pieces in there. I'm not too worried about getting them all out because usually I will be putting something on top of where that is, so I don't get all, you know, oh, I got to poke that out or I got to cut it so that you can't see that. No. I'm usually going to, this is kind of like your hanging chad, place something on top of it anyway and it will be hidden and I won't worry about it. Job done. So I've got a card base. This is an A2 size card base right behind this. So you can see, you know, sort of the sizing. And then I also have it, you know, I could use it for this. So you can see that as well. This one goes right to the edge. See? So you will not have any extra space on this one because it is A2 in size. So you're going to cover the whole card front if your card is A2. Okay, now what you can do with these, obviously you can put your larger gingerbreads or cookies on them. And of course, like I said, I usually cover up where I'm going to have some of those hanging chads anyway. That's it horizontal, and this is it vertically with a single larger gingerbread. And these are pretty good sized gingerbread, right? This one's from Peachy Keen, and this one's from Tailored Expressions. I don't know if this is retired now. I think it is. And this one you will still have room for a hat, most likely, because it fits, right? This hat does not fit on this gingerbread. I've already told you that. Or you could even use, maybe you could use the chef's hat here. I don't know. I didn't really like the chef's hat, but whatever. And you could add some accessories like the bowl. Okay, so those are the larger gingerbreads on these larger die cuts. When you talk about the smaller ones, let's do this first because I have them right in front of me. If you put these two here or two of the same size that are smaller, these are the smaller ones I have cut already. I have even smaller ones than these. I have ones that go down to about the size of one of these squares, maybe a little bit larger. So I have some really small ones. But anyway, and I could use it for this particular die cut. And like I have a whole little sheet of gingerbread cookies. Or even hearts or whatever, you know, whatever you want to make into cookies. So, you know, you could have two sitting together and a sentiment off to the side. Again, I usually will cover it so you can't see those hanging chads. And then have a sentiment somewhere on the card, right? And so that's the smaller ones. Now these ones right here are the ones from My Creative Time, which face each other. It's beautiful because they do face each other. And you can add in the little clothes that I showed you from before to make them look extra cute. So there we go. That is two together on one cookie sheet. Or no, cooling rack. I really like this die. This one is kind of difficult to cut. You do have to pass it through. Well, I have a electric Big Shot, so I passed it through twice, in and out, reversed out the other way, and then I turned it 90 degrees and went back in and back out. So that's really 4 passes on this die, and you can still see that there are 2 at least that stayed in, 2 little squares that stayed in. So that's these 2 little guys on this particular piece. Again, you can do the same thing over here. It's up to you. Or you could use 2 different sizes. I have this gingerbread shape in 3 different sizes, so I could actually put probably the other 2 on here because they are smaller. Or, you know, just fit a whole bunch of small ones on here, like maybe 6. Like it's a whole cookie sheet, or, you know, something like that. Or 4. 4 might be cute. So, you remember those ornaments they did? I don't know if you guys went Christmas ornament shopping this year, or last year, I'm sorry. They had like a cookie sheet, like a sheet pan with 4 cookies on it. So you could do the same thing with this, where you would have like, you know, 4 gingerbread cookies dressed up on here to look like they're on the cooling rack. So yeah, lots of things you can do. I just wanted to share this before I started putting together completed projects and showing you those cards, but I'll be back and attach that video to this one. Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, I'm back to show you my quote-unquote finished projects. Let me share with you what I used, and then we'll look through all the little projects I did. Okay, so I used this scalp tags die from My Creative Time. I think it was this one. And then there's another shape that fits into this that is in a separate set. This one right here. So I used that one. And then I used this Ginger Accessories 2. Now this one is made to go with the gingerbreads from My Creative Time. It has a chef's hat in it. That's the one I use because it looks better with that ginger, and not the chef's hat from Jaded Blossoms, because that one is just too big, I think. So I used this one, and these are the gingers from My Creative Time. I actually put them in the same pocket right now because I've got to find, oh no, both of them are in here. So both of the sets are in here. This is the accessories for this guy, and I probably should just put them together. Okay, I used this set here for the sentiments. This is called It's Cookie Season, and all the stamps here have coordinating dies that I also purchased. So I used all the dies, and I actually, not all of them, I labeled them so I know what they say or what they belong to. So you can die cut out these sentiments once you've stamped them. It's easier to stamp first and then die cut, so that's what I do. This one right here, I used the spatula. Is that right? Yeah, the spatula here, mixing. And then I used the Baked with Love stamp set that fits inside of it. And for that stamp set, I used my Weather Vane ink because I didn't want a really dark black for my sentiment. I used that color when I stamped it. I also used, I think I used this one, or I was going to. This is a set from Impression Obsession. It is called Christmas Baking. I think I was going to use this one. Did I use it? I'm not sure. Oh yeah, 'Tis the Season for Baking is what I used. This is a paper tray ink quilted die set. It is a tag. I can't remember the number. It's got a number associated to it. But I have a couple of these that I use for tags a lot. And they have a whole line of quilted squares that fit inside here. So I did use this for my tags right here. And then this last die here, which is from the Stamp Market. I cut one of my cards down because I thought it would look nicer in that size, and I will show you the actual envelope this makes. This is the 3x4 rip envelope. And I use these two inks, this India ink pad and this Lawn Fawn dough color. Now this ink right here, excuse me, is really staining. And I think I showed you guys my new Ultra Clear cleaning, what do you call it? Cleaning solution. This takes off that India ink. And I used it on, that's why I couldn't remember if I used the actual stamp or not. But I think I used it with this 'Tis the Season for Baking. So it really did help clean that off a little bit more than normal, because that India ink really is staining, and I don't necessarily like that, but it doesn't harm your stamps. It's just one of those things. So let me show you what I sort of finished. And I didn't put a whole lot of effort into a lot of these things, but I want to share what I did do. Okay, so this particular cookie rack die, which isn't a cookie rack, it's actually one of the ones that I've been buying. Let me kind of move these over. I think that's the Paper Rose one. Let me see, because I've got them all here. Got them all out still. Yeah. This might be that Paper Rose one. Okay. So, what I did was, the nice thing about this one is that the grid is really small, and I actually cut the little extra edges off. So that's why it looks square. It's not exactly square, but if you notice, I just cut, you know, some pieces off the die, which, you know, you can do, of course, or some pieces off the paper. And so I used my tiny gingerbread guys, and these are a long ago die from Memory Box. I don't even know if this is available. This is probably very hard to find, but this is from Memory Box. I know that. And I got it at I think I got it at a consignment sale or a used craft sale. And each of the gingerbreads is dressed differently. There's two different sizes here. There's three different versions in the larger size and two versions in the smaller size. So I cut it multiple times. This one has just buttons and a little thing across. This one has a bow tie, and I'm going to hold it closer, you can see it. And then this one just has like a neck thing and two buttons. So this one has 3 buttons. So I cut it multiple times, and it makes so many of them that you can, you know, easily fill up your cooling rack. And then this die here is from Charlie and Paul Chen, and that is a German company, so it's from overseas. I actually cut this away from the die that it comes with. There's a tree that this comes with, and since I just wanted the 2 gingerbreads and the sign that says Lebkuchen, which is gingerbread, I just keep these together so I won't lose them, because if you unhook these or you cut them apart, then you're probably going to lose the die. So I keep it larger if I can, and I just kind of, because they're all interrelated, I kept those together. So those are the dies that I use that I have. And I put that, again, this all of my gingerbread are cut from the same paper, which is from Lawn Fawn. And this paper is a paper from Jamie's shop, the Not Too Shabby. I purchased this paper over the winter time, and it's got gingerbread all over it. And I added some seam binding and some little tinsel trim. This came from Prima, and it's pink. So that's the 'Tis the Season for Baking tag that I have. Okay. This one is the Paper Rose die. So this one right here is the larger one of the two, because I have 2 sizes. Right here. So you can see the larger and the smaller, exactly the same, except you could tell the grid is smaller on the smaller one. And I don't know, you know, you guys can be the judge. You can cut off the little legs if you want, or you can leave them on. These 2 gingerbreads are from this Sizzix die. And this die is actually in a set. Let's see. 662418. That's the die number set that this comes from. And there's a bunch of other Christmas related items in it, not just the gingerbread. And rather than cut all those little die cut pieces, I used my Dry's white glue from Art Glitter, and just added those little details in there. And then that little cookie season is die cut from that My Creative Time die and stamp set. So then I just added some tinsel here at the top. All right, here is the My Creative Time little guy. He's got the hat from My Creative Time, the little sentiment that says sugar and spice season. That little die cut in the back for the cookie rack is from MFT. And again, you can choose to cut the legs off if you want. I just kind of like the texture it gives. This bowl is from Jaded Blossom. These two little gingerbread are from that Charlie and Paul Chen die set that I showed you that says Leave Cookin'. I cut a slit right here where the little dotted line is and inserted them in there because I thought they'd be cute hanging out of the bowl. And then this is from Jaded Blossom. This is from Jaded Blossom, and so is the bowl. This paper is a pack that I got some time ago. I can't remember the name. But it's all gingham on one side, and it's a 25 pack of 12 by 12, and then there's some pattern on the other. So you can see that. And then I just cut this down to fit inside the Stamp Market envelope that I made. This is the 3x4 envelope, and this is made from Tim Holtz paper. So this is really tight to fit in here, but it was in here earlier. I don't know if I can fit it down in again, but you can see here that a 3x4 card is what would fit in here. It cannot be that big because it'll be stuck in there, and it has a little rip piece. So you would glue this flap down, or adhere it down, and then the recipient can rip that flap off to separate and open up the card to get to the card. Now, I don't know if I could fit this down in there now, but I don't want to get stuck, so I'm not going to really try. But 3x4 card is what fits inside this envelope. It's really cute size, I think. So that's that card. Okay, this one isn't finished. This one is the My Creative Time die with the honeybee stamps. Is that right? Honeybee stamps die. This one right here. You see it's an A2 size burlap background. And again, I just ran my scissors along the paper and cut off all the little extras to make it straight. Well, not straight because this is not a straight line. So I just cut the little tips off to make it look a little more like a cookie sheet. And I have this Bake with Love. I'm trying to toy with the idea of using this gingham olive green paper to put behind this Baked with Love, just so that you can see it better. But I haven't figured out which die shape. I'm thinking a heart might be nice. But I just need to go find the die that I want to use for it. So I dressed the ginger from My Creative Time up with the accessories from Jaded Blossom. And I did hide his... You'll notice that I hid the eyes. This is supposed to be cheeks, a nose, and another cheek. Just like on this guy. See, they face each other. But I hid the eye part underneath the hat because I think it looks cute this way too. Somebody asked me, would you use the stamp to put a face on him? You can. It just depends on what you prefer, I like this detail because it's cut into the gingerbread like this. I could go back and put some rosy cheeks and, add some shadowing to the nose with a Copic. But didn't do that. I'm not finished. So there we go with that card. Okay, I have a tag and a card here. So this one uses the tiny Paper Rose burlap, what I'm using for a cookie sheet. And again, I could cut the edges off if I want. I didn't do that. And then I used the little tiny gingerbreads here from that memory box set. And there's 4 here. These 2 are the same, and these 2 are the same. And this says gingerbread cookies. And this die is from My Creative Time, as well as this layer right here. And then I added a button. I just punched a hole through the tag, like right here on the opposite side, and threaded my twine from Walmart through that button and the hole, tied it off, and then added a little jingle bell to the end here. So now I have a cute little tag in the same paper as this one right here, because I wanted to use the scraps from this card. This paper is from this stack right here down the chimney. It's this one right here. So that's where that comes from. This little gingerbread girly is from Jaded Blossom, I believe. No, I think that's the Maker's Movement, this one. And then I just added some of the same glue, the Dries White glue from Art Glitter, over the ends of her hands and her toes and for her hair, and then on this little spoon here. And this spoon here is from Jaded Blossom. I just added it like it was icing. So the dress too is from Jaded Blossom as well. And I put this on the MFT die here. So this is the one from MFT. I added the secret ingredient is love. That's the stamp from My Creative Time, and I die cut it out. So I thought that was cute. I got a matching tag and card for this. And then here's the last one. This is the A2 grid from Altenew. Okay, this one right here. I got this from scrapbook.com. This is from 2021. Grid cover die is what it's called. This is cut out of that metallic paper, and again, it covers the whole card. I have a piece of paper underneath it, again from Not Too Shabby, I believe, from one of her releases. I think it's the same paper pad as the gingerbread one. It has it's pink with little red candy looking speckles. And this is the Tailored Expressions die, gingerbread die, and then the hat and the scarf from Jaded Blossom. And then this Baking Spirit Sprite, this is the one that comes from My Creative Time, as well as this spatula to mix. And then I tied some tinsel twine around the neck of the die cut here. So what I did was cut it twice. I cut the this part in a wood grain paper from Lawn Fawn, and then this part is from the same scrap that the hat and the scarf came from. And these two, these papers are from Prima. So those are the finished, quote-unquote, finished cards, tags that I made with all the different gingerbread play that I did. I have one more die coming, and unfortunately, it is an actual... It is a cookie sheet. I'm sorry, it's a cookie rack. It's made to actually be a cookie rack. So I don't have it yet, but I'll tell you, I'll show it once I get it. I'm supposed to get it tomorrow. It's made to fit on an A2 size card. It is not as big as this, but because it is a cookie rack, it has the rounded corners that a cookie rack would have. So I will show that once I do get it. Unfortunately, I couldn't play with it here. I did leave one gingerbread. This is the largest gingerbread from the set from Peachy Keen, because the die has, there's 3 different size gingerbread. This guy I left out so I could play with that one on that new cooling rack die that I purchased. And it will come in tomorrow, supposedly. But it is larger than, like, say, this one. It's not square. It is rectangular because it is a cookie rack. And so I purchased it from Close to My Heart. Somebody, one of my viewers, and I wrote her name down. I'm going to mention her when I show you the die. One of my viewers actually said that she found it, and it's not something you can search on because it's part of a set. So the die itself is inside of a set of other things that are like cookies, and it's called Freshly Baked. So if you go to the Close to My Heart website and you type in their search bar Freshly Baked, you'll see the stamp set, but there's also a die set that coordinates, and the coordinating die set to the stamp set has a cookie rack in it, a cooling rack. And so thank you to that viewer who notified me about that, because she said she was looking for one too. I ordered it along with the stamp set and another set too that is a recipe card. So when those come in tomorrow, supposedly, I will share with you what it looks like. And that is it for me now. I wanted to go ahead and put this and another video together. And thanks for watching. Bye, everyone.